thought just with Monday and being the Dead Hope game and all that sort of be fitting for me to go with HFC this week. So yeah, this is a bit of hardship, family connection, and just sort of a all-around sort of description of why this game means so much to me and my family. So as you all probably know, Dad passed away of pancreatic cancer. He was diagnosed early or late 2020 in September. Pretty much sort of started in stage 4 lockdown. Dad had a bit of stomach issues and was blaming it on Mum's cooking, which she wasn't too fond about. Thought it was at his healthiest, and yeah, went to the doctor and thought they'd be very thorough and just sort of get some blood tests and scans, but pretty much just said everything is all good, just precautionary. Yeah, pretty much one day Dad got called in to the doctor and just said, you've got tumours on your liver, so we need to find out more, and they're cancerous. So that was sort of the brunt of it. So he pretty much started chemo and was responding to it pretty well as you can. And then he tied up all business and everything, and Mum stopped working, and she sort of turned into his carer full time and started doing everything she could for him. And then in May 2021, we went over to the Kimberley for about 3 weeks, and that was still by far favourite holiday I've ever been on, and it was the first family holiday we've had together. After that holiday, it sort of made me realise that there's a lot of positives through things like this, and one of them being was we never would have gone on that holiday if he wasn't diagnosed. Overall, for someone who had pancreatic cancer, which was an absolute nightmare, he had done very well. And then in June 2021, so early June, I woke up and Mum was just yelling out, call an ambulance, and I just got out of bed wondering what was going on and walked out into this, which is just near my room. So that was sort of the first off moment for me. He just woke up, got out of bed and started vomiting blood, and pretty much we had to rush him to hospital. Yeah, they saved his life with that. So end of June, so same thing sort of happened again. I got brought out of school and told to say my goodbyes because they said he's probably going to die. That was sort of one of the first or second times that happened. And then we met a surgeon called Murdad Nick Farjum. So the whole time we got told there's no chance of operating, like you sort of just got to do what you can and try and keep him alive for as long as you can. But he operated on Dad after we got told he was going to die, and managed to cut all of his tumours out. So that was the first time Dad became tumour-free. And when I heard that, I thought tumour-free was cancer-free, which I learnt sadly it's not. Towards the end of that year, we got told that the tumours had come back and that they were planning to do another operation. Got brought out of school again because he was in hospital, and we went in there to say our goodbyes. They thought that because he was absolutely delirious because of all the pain medication he was on, and sort of got to the stage where they thought it was sort of not the quality of life that he'd want. So we got brought in there to say our goodbyes, and we were told that he's not going to wake up in the morning, and that yeah, he'd pass away overnight in his sleep. And then, what do you know, he woke up the next morning. Bit of a shock, sort of thought I was in a dream. And we got to bring him home later in Feb. And yeah, so that was bringing him home. I don't know how many of you have seen the documentary, but there's a clip in there where he's sort of lying on the couch, just absolutely lifeless. And we were like, what's going on this time? And then same thing again, we've saved him, but he's not gonna survive. Like, you gotta say goodbyes again. Well, this is April. So then everything had gone back to focusing on Dad and how we can sort of save him and prolong him. And then Easter weekend, Mum sat us down as we were having breakfast and just starts crying, and we're like, all right, Mum, you're a pretty emotional person, but what's going on now? And she pretty much said that her dad, who's on the right there, just got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer as well. And that was sort of thinking that we'd just been f***ed over completely, because there's no relation between them at all. And how can two of the most important men in my life and my family's life both be diagnosed with the same thing that we hadn't heard about before all this? you can sort of see just how quickly it goes. So that was April, and then this one was in June. So he's just spiraled down completely. It was always touch and go with how he'd go with COVID, but I sort of thought, I've been told 7 or 8 times that he's going to die, so if they tell us again, it's not going to happen. 5th of July, I went away to the snow with one of my best mates. Mum was saying, I think you should probably come home. I'm like, oh, I think you're just stressing a bit, like I just got here yesterday. She's like, no, I think we're going to get Harry to pick you up. We had a hospital bed in our lounge room, which is a bit different. And I've walked inside and seen that. Sort of thought, shit, this isn't good. And then I didn't actually speak to Dad since before I left in person. Last time I spoke to him was over the phone, which I still struggle with a bit at times. On the night of the 8th, he was lying in bed and we all sort of knew it was towards the end, and Dad's brothers and sisters and my family sat around him as he took his last breath to say goodbye. And then I remember from that point on, it was a lot of shock because he was diagnosed when I was 15 and died when I was 16. And I just thought, this can't be real. And I remember waking up every morning and then it would just hit me every day that he's died, and that was, yeah, something I struggled with quite a bit. That was 9 days after Dad died. That was for the first Dad of Hope game. So we always thought Dad would be there for that. Fortunately, he wasn't. About 3.5 months later, I was at school about to go into a exam, and Mum called me and was like, you might want to come here. I think Pa's just passed away. And then that was another bit of a, what the f is going on? So yeah, Dad and Pa, both within 4 months of each other. And from then on, sort of just changed my whole perspective on life, really. I can be sometimes a bit carefree and not think about consequences, but yeah, I sort of just make sure I try and cherish how important all the little things are and how much like love and affection you show to people, because you really don't know when they're going to go. From then on, sort of been our family and mainly Mum's goal to create as much awareness and funding around pancreatic cancer as we can, because like I said before, went from never hearing about it to then losing Dad and Pa of the same thing. So we're on to the 4th year now, and Mum is an absolute workhorse. She just gets done. This year we're hoping, it's up to everyone, but it'd be great if you'd be keen to swap out your laces with these purple ones. And we're wearing beanies on Sunday. I just thought going today is sort of a bit of backstory as to why it's so important to me and my family and how much we cherish these things. So yeah, that's it.